topics every Saturday. Namaste. Vishwa is an organization which works towards building the grassroots levels of India. The first step we take towards that is to build an awareness. We work in different causes from education, health, art and culture to 12 other causes. On every Saturday at 11 a.m., we have a talk on these various topics. For example, when it comes to health, India has a rich source of Ayurvedic treatments, alternative medicines like Ayurveda, homeopathy, Siddha, naturopathy. At a time when India is leading in diabetes, heart attacks, cancer, we have preventive medication which can be used. So a lot of talks have come out where people can use household items to prevent some of these or to control some of them. Our grandmothers were a rich source of information. Our parents knew a little lesser than that, and we know a lot lesser than that. And perhaps our children may never get that heritage. Here at Vishwa, we have people who tell us how to use the household items like curry leaves or neem or lemongrass, for what ailments, etc. Similarly, we have talks on art and culture. We would like to have our Indians to be united, be one, be proud of their culture, their heritage. We have a lot of talks where people from various walks of life have come forward and spoken about various buildings, various dance forms, etc. These are two examples I have given. We cover 12 causes like this in our Vishwa talks. As a first step, we want to bring in awareness among the coming generation. Our audience is across the country and sometimes abroad too. We have a rich interactive session after the talk is given by the expert. It's for any person who watches these talks to decide what they want to believe in, what they don't want to believe in, and if they have any clarifications, they're free to ask questions. After this, we want to build the skills of the people of India. Today, India is on the cusp of moving into one of the top countries of the world. But unfortunately, the skills of our people do not match our aspirations. Here at Vishwa, we started out in a small way. We started with computer training. Fortunately for us, Rotary and some people have donated computers to us. We teach 10th class students, inter students and degree students so that when they go for jobs, they don't get rejected. We teach the basics like Excel, Doc, ChatGPT, how to market. The basics we teach, because most of them cannot afford computers and they have no access to them. And similarly, we have something called celebrations. Celebrations is celebrating your loved ones on their anniversaries, on their birthdays, on their death anniversaries. You could contribute to any of the causes that Vishwa showcases on its platform, vishwa.org. You could, Annadanam for instance. There are a lot of people across the country who, when they go to hospitals, they come up from far-off regions and they little money they have, they keep it aside for the treatment of the patient. They sleep on platforms, they hardly eat anything. And we give them food every afternoon on Fridays, and it makes a lot of difference. There are similar such fundraisers. Please feel free to celebrate your loved ones with any of these causes.
Vishwa's commitment towards zero waste and the long way to go in achieving the goal begins with our material donation drive. Conducted twice a year during Diwali and Ugadi in Hyderabad, this drive collects clothes, books, toys and other used or semi-used items for the underprivileged. Contributions from over 615 plus families have benefited around 2,800 individuals, providing essential items and support, bringing hope and dignity to them. Through these efforts, we transform the waste of some into the treasure of others, promoting sustainability and community welfare.
Namaskaram everyone. A very good morning and welcome to Vishwa Talks. My name is Radhika Yashwant and I thank you all for attending today's event on Zoom and to those who are watching on YouTube Live. For those of you who attended a Vishwa Talk before, a warm welcome back. And for our new joiners, here's a little bit about Vishwa. Vishwa Talks is a program to create awareness among people and to make a positive impact in the society. Here we invite experts to discuss and explore diverse opinions, different perspectives, various issues, problems, and the solutions. We have over 180 talks, over 200 talks, and each webinar is an interactive session with a deeper understanding of topic at hand. If you miss any part of this session, or if you would like to go through our previous sessions, please visit our website or Vishwa Talks YouTube channel. So today, it is with great warmth and pride that we welcome today's distinguished speaker, Mr. PG Bhatt, whose work and wisdom have left a lasting mark in the worlds of education, technology, and social impact. Mr. Bhatt's journey is one that inspires deep respect and admiration. With over 21 years of service in the Indian Navy, he embodies discipline, leadership, and commitment to excellence. His transition from defense sector to senior management roles in top firms like HCL Systems and Parity Computing India reflects his remarkable experience and capability. But it doesn't end there. As an educator, Mr. Bhatt has shared his knowledge at premier institutions like RV University, Reva University, IISc, ISI, and more. His expertise spans across data analytics, machine learning, and database management. His impact also resonates in the corporate world, where he has conducted over 100 training programs, both in India and abroad. What makes Mr. Bhatt truly exceptional is his unwavering dedication to social good. Whether it is working with NGOs, analyzing public data for impactful governance, or advising schools on effective teaching practices. He is also a thought leader, sharing his insights through his blog, a space where technology, education, and civic responsibility intersect. So today we are not just welcoming a speaker, we are welcoming a mentor, a change maker, and a lifelong learner. Before we dive into today's interesting discussion, I would like to inform our audience that our speaker will take the questions from you after the main talk. So please leave your questions in the chat box or use raise hand tool. We will allow you to ask your questions in person. So without further ado, let us welcome Mr. PG Bhatt as he shares his inspiring journey and valuable insights with us. Over to you, sir.
Thank you for the kind words, Radhika. I may not deserve as much. My warm greetings to the viewers of Vishwa Talks. And I thank Vishwa Talk for facilitating this meeting between you and me. So we'll start with a small prayer.
वागर्थाविव सम्पृक्तौ वागर्थप्रतिपत्तये जगतः पितरौ वन्दे पार्वती परमेश्वरौ वन्दे पार्वती परमेश्वरौ.
This is the first stanza of the prayer of Kalidasa's great work, Raghuvamsham, where he salutes Shiva and Parvati, the parents of the world, who are united, inseparable, like the word and its meaning. Vag, Artha. Vak and Artha. So we start with this idea of the meaning for every word that we speak, the form and function, the structure and behavior, everything together. As we go through, we may come back, if time permits, to the meaning of this and to elaborate in the context of classroom. However, let us hold this dear to the heart, tell that Vak, Artha, we are here to bring meaning to every word that we speak, every act that we do, let them be meaningful. So starting with today's topic, let us see the context as of now. Are we efficient, more efficient than what we were earlier? Yes, obviously. The task which took us the whole day to complete, we are able to do in minutes. The food that we need gets delivered at home. With one call, we can get any service. Yes, it is more efficient. But is it a distraction? Overuse of these facilities, the ultra-processed services, ultra-processed food, ultra-fast thinking, is it distracting us? Is it becoming an addiction? Let us look at the case 2 days ago, 31st July. A railway collector at Yadgir railway station in Karnataka. The queue was building up to buy tickets, but he was busy on the phone for 15 minutes. He kept telling to the passengers, 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. The typical thing, even the children, if you call them for lunch, if you call them for homework, if you call them for any discussion, 1 minute, because they're busy with the phone, busy with the TV, busy with something which is an addiction now. As of now, as you go, you may travel by metro, by a bus, dining table, living room. More importantly, when you're driving a two-wheeler, people can't drive a two-wheeler without mobile phone on their ears. They don't see what is happening on the left or right or behind or ahead. They can't hear the honks, crowd building up. They are distracted. When they are distracted, when they are addicted, what happens to the remaining travelers behind them, ahead of them? When did we last see somebody reading a book in public place? Maybe waiting in the queue, maybe, in the train travel. We seldom see that. And if you see someone reading a book in public place, we should celebrate that. I also have an experience where a student was busy with his phone in the class. I asked him why. He said, I'm busy in trading. He's in the stock market. The class is going on some other subject, but he's making money there. Addicted. Toddlers, grown-ups, you and me. It is not limited to Generation Z. We have created this context for the Generation Z, and they are consuming it. And this leads, again, multitasking. We're all busy with multitasking. We can't be mindful on anything. Maybe studies, maybe reading, maybe traveling, or maybe eating. Whatever we do, something else is in our mind. So we are the typical that man in hurry, slow and steady. You may win the race, but who wants the race? Mindful, what is it? We don't know about that. And we want to outsource even thinking. Ultra-processed solutions and ultra-short attention span, this is the context. We consume contents like fast food. Tasty, quick, and often indigestible. So let us consider if this happens in general for all of us, not only for the young generation, but why we talk about Gen Z is that they are the people who sit in the classroom. They are our future. What can we do to improve that? How can we reach out to them? How can we address this issue? Little by little, it is not going to be overnight. It is not going to be short span. It is going to be a journey, a long journey, meaningful. A lot of anxiety and stress is built up. Let us understand that aspect also about the context. There's an old song, will I be rich? Will I be beautiful? Let us go back, Shefali, who made news for good or bad reasons. I won't call anything bad. Pardon me saying that. Like a flower burning itself for external validation. Curated life, tracked, measured, and compared continuously. As reported in the news and verified by doctors, she was under anti-aging medication, self-medication most often, including injections. And then what followed? So is it worth for 8 to 10 years, a young person who is in the public space, social media, so much worried about looking young rather than being young at heart, doing something meaningful, deriving joy out of what one does. Other anxiety and stress apart from this comparison, continuous competition, perceived competition, job opportunities, layoffs, trade deals, political turmoil, wars, Trump's imposition, or the trade deals, whatever we call it. They all worry us. And if they worry us, they also worry our students, a great number of them. When I talk to young people in the final years of their engineering or the graduation, whatever it is, one of the things on the top of their mind is that how will I get job? What job will I get? More than anything else, how much will I get? Not then what job I will do, how much will I make? LPA, lakhs per annum. Okay, this is a new term now. When I was young, 4-figure salary was a big thing. If you earn more than $999 per month, it is a big thing. Now it's only how many lakhs per month. Fine, that is fine. It is a context which we cannot change. But in this context, what can we do? Lifestyle. Its effect on health, stress, anxiety. So our students sit with this burden on their head, in their mind. One more issue is that celebrities replace mentors. It is a one-sided bond that feel real. Shah Rukh Khan is Pan Parag, why shouldn't I? Sachin Tendulkar says that drinking boost will boost your intelligence. You'll stand first in the class or you'll score very high if you drink boost. Bharat Ratna Sachin Tendulkar. They're all celebrities. They are demigods or full gods. People are willing to die for them. So unless we replace this with a proper mentor who cares for you, who knows you, who is close to you, it won't help much. So this is the context in which we all live. And more so the young minds, bright minds are affected by that. Let me narrate a small story. What happened 5 years ago when my grandson was 5. He was very worried, very scared of ants, dogs, and cows. That is what we see on the street. And cows and dogs, he would run away. But if he found an ant, he would stamp on it, kill it. My daughter and I kept telling him it is no use killing innocent insects or animals, hurting animals. What harm have they done to you? He was worried that the ant would bite him. And he just couldn't avoid killing an ant if he found one. So one afternoon, after lunch, we were going around. So I took him to the gate. I found some ants there. I allowed the ant to climb my hand, and it started crawling around my body, my arm, my body, my palm. It was not biting me. It was not hurting me. It was fun. He was for good 10-15 minutes, totally absorbed, not distracted with anything, because it is intimate, it is immediate. He can see it, he can watch, and he can feel it. Then he slowly asked, can I also do that? Can I allow this big ant climb my hand, my finger? I said, try it. Don't be scared. So he saw that the ant was not biting him. He brought the ant inside home. He got some sugar. He bought a crumb of chocolate. He said, let me eat this ant. This is my personal ant now. After that, his care for the ant has gone. He was no more scared of dogs. Weekends, he wanted to go to the dog park so that he can run around with 100+ dogs there. He was not scared of cows anymore. So this transformation, how much soever we tell, don't be scared, not going to work. They'll be more scared maybe, or they will become more defensive, find reasons why one should be scared of that. He will quote 100 people who are scared of ants. But unless we experience in person, unless that scare is removed once, practically that scare is not going to go out. The ones who involve with personal, intimate, authentic, and current situation, they'll be bored. This is another dialogue which my grandson says, I am bored. Not only for him, we see people at all ages being bored. You can see by the expression, see the yawnings, see the need to be distracted from this boredom, instant gratification. So this is how the things work on Ant has got another full form, automatic negative thought. I think David of Harvard Medical School started this term long back, 50 years ago or so, automatic negative thoughts. So these thoughts, the scare, some of the boredom, some of the addictions, they're all caused because of automatic negative thought. The negative thought is that the ant will bite me, not experience. An ant never bit him, but that negative thought is there. This subject is difficult. I can't pass this examination. I will miss the train. We carry these negative thoughts for whole of waking hours and part of sleeping hours in our dreams. So if you do not face it directly, if you don't hold the bull by horn, it will keep going at us. So let us be convinced that ant is normal, automatic negative thoughts. We have to minimize it. We have to encourage our students, tell that, okay, this is your negative thought, not reality. You can do that, you can change. And we have to see the patterns. We have to see the multi-perspective aspect of it. Now you see, when you achieve a pattern like, scared of ant, it has been cured. Now it has cured the scare of two other animals, the cows and the dogs. There are many positive side effects whenever you achieve a small victory, very, very small victory. So this is a story that I have told you, small story, which is real and intimate. And stories not just for communication, but for thinking itself. We think in terms of story, may it be fiction, may it be real life story, whatever it is a thought process. Writing is a thought process. Storytelling is a thought process. So as teachers, we are all, teachers means every parent is a teacher. And the students also can be teachers also. They can help their peers, they can help their friends. So in that moment, they are teachers. And there is no better way of learning than teachers. So those of you, by chance, if you are students, whatever we discuss applies to the students as well. It is not just for the teachers. So what can we do? Again, getting back to the shloka that we narrated, it is a simile that was used by Kalidasa. Upama Kalidasasya is the king of similes. So when you compare one with another, one behavior, one feature with another feature, that becomes a simile. So by using similes, understanding becomes easier. While studying, while teaching, let us see how we can use the similes. Analogies is a little bigger than similes. It will compare multiple features, not just one feature. Simile compares one feature, analogy compares multiple features, and the stories. So how to build these stories? You have to just look around. You don't have to read 100 books. The simple way of doing it is that there are many critical incidents that happen in our life, in the classroom and outside, at home and the shopping mall. So if you note down the critical incidents for our own reference, then from these critical incidents, we discover teaching points of view, TPV, teaching point of view. There is one teaching point of view, at least, in every critical incident that we see. And if you are able to convert that, build a simile, analogy, story out of that teaching point of view, they all club together, they grow. Organically, they grow. And we have to relate the stories based on the time, space, where we are, the cultural context. For example, maybe about 15 years ago, I went to Sri Vivekananda Youth Movement's tribal school for the teacher training in a place called Hosahalli, about 60 kilometers from Mysore. There I told in the class that Rama committed suicide by jumping into Sarayu River. I was sort of boycotted. All the students were so angry with me, telling that, how dare you say Sri Rama committed suicide? But that is from the story. I was telling them a story, but they were not able to take that story. It is so cruel to them, being so unkind. So if you're not sure about the cultures and the subcultures, then again, the teaching tools won't work. If I say, okay, it worked in the primary school, why doesn't it work for postgraduates? Or it worked there, why didn't it work here? There are so many subcultures. Even if you go to the same university, different schools in the university have got different culture. Different courses within that school have got different cultures. Different classes, the course of 2024, 2025, they got their own subcultures. So if you're able to observe the subcultures, that will help us to teach better how to match, avoid friction, avoid collision. Another point, data speaks. I've been working on data for more than 2 decades. So when you consider the data, in the class, we need data. Name the subject. So in this context, what I have been doing for quite some time now, more than a dozen years, I use the student-supplied dirty data instead of curated, clean data from the textbooks or from the websites. And these are applicable, these are useful from kindergarten to the post-graduation classes. For example, let us consider we are taking some categorical and some numeric data of the students, their name, state, district, mother tongue, then whatever else we can with context. Then we can take numeric data which could be discrete or continuous, date of birth, height, weight, chest, waist, neck size, whatever. You can collect a lot many data. For example, there is in Pennsylvania State University has got a collection of data, of course, not created by them, called ANSUR. Anthropic data, body measures of 6,000 plus army soldiers of the US, about 4,000 men and 2,000 women. Now, this data is used for many researchers. There are 95 numeric data and 15 demographic data. If you compare that, for example, those who intend doing, we will be able to create our own data set as per our context, as per our culture, which will be useful in teaching. Where all can we use it? So, for example, you are talking about numbers, basic arithmetic taught in class 1. If you want to add numbers, you say, okay, what is your weight? What is your friend's weight? What is the total? What is the difference? What is the ratio? And these students, when they say, okay, their data, their personal data is not being compared, it is not bananas in the shop which you never bought, or it is not about, some imaginary figure, this is real. And when you talk about the height, all that we can do is, apart from telling, okay, this is the height of that person, take a tape to the classroom. Okay, let us see here. There's a tape here. So you take a tape and say, okay, taking this tape, measure the height yourself, your friend, whatever. So there is another play that comes in. The students are no more sitting straight on their desk. They're made to move around. They're able to apply. They're distracted from their distraction because there is some activity involved. The moment we are active doing something by hand, applying our mind, there is no boredom anymore. There is no distraction anymore. Same data if you go to carry forward. I've used this kind of data while teaching machine learning and artificial intelligence, classification, regression, correlation. So there is no limit to this kind of data where all it can be used. Or say while programming, converting all character to uppercase, title case, lowercase, for example, the silliest thing that we start with while programming. Now, if my name is shown in all uppercase, I get interested. Dow Jones, I do not know who is Dow Jones. Donald Trump doesn't matter to me. So, but if it is my name, I wake up. I sit straight. Oh, now let me see. Let me say the double metaphor, phonetics. Oh, how does my name sound? I want to see that. Is Gayatri and Gayatri same as per the phonetics, or is it different? If it is different in phonetics, is it different in some other fuzzy matching? So these kind of things can grow from the absolute beginning, absolute basics, up to fairly intermediate level of discussion. We have a good opportunity to use that data. Again, what happens when the students give their own data, we are able to tell them, look, the units you have given is incorrect. We wanted the height in centimeters. You are given in feet and inches. We wanted the weight in kilograms. Are you sure it is kilograms? Are you sure there is no difference? Have you used non-standard data? On and on. Have you given unnecessary space? Have you converted something to uppercase or lowercase, otherwise, etc., etc., hundreds of things, they will make mistakes. So awareness of the data quality and data completeness, especially in the today's world, when it depends so much on data, ChatGPT or the class of LLMs that we use, the agents that we use, require correct data. If in our mind we have got some data, but if it is interpreted differently, we'll get a wrong advice. And we take those advices blindly, unfortunately. Now let us consider a little more about the data usage example. For example, say ratio. My grandson learned about ratio the other day in the class, and he was applying the ratio to the height, his own height, my daughter's height, etc., etc. Very nice. Now, if extend it further, the data that we have gathered for the class, waist to height ratio indicates the health, BMI calculations, how they compare with each other, something to the biology classes, arithmetic, health metrics, regression, clustering, decision trees, whatever area we want to explore, we can inspect. Can I use the data which is intimate to the students? They know it in and out, and they will sit up, listen to the name of the student or his or her friends. Let me take a deep breath for a break. Break in the sense we are not breaking from the thing, we are changing the topic. So one thing we talked about is the data. After the data, after the stories, similes, analogies, there are some props that we can use very, very regularly in the class. I carry a bag. One thing which I always have in the bag is a whistle. A whistle, we can create drama, we can enact so many activities in the class. You select 3, 5, 10, whatever number of students you want. So there is a judge, give him the whistle. There is a person who will take measurements, maybe take a tailor's tape. There may be playing cards. There may be water bottle, a mechanical spring, marbles, dice, name tags, ribbons, price tags, an abacus, colored threads, some gadget that you would generally find in somewhere or other. Say there is a thermostat. You think of it, or an hourglass. If you look around, you will find a lot of things which will teach us a teaching point of view. So games that we can create out of these gadgets, sorting, make the student stand tallest to the left, the shortest to the right, filtering, all the girls, all the boys, those above, say, depending on the class, above some height, below some height, within this range, serialization, pickling, a lot of things we can do. For example, let me narrate only one. Say you call 3 students, 4 students, one with the whistle, other with the measuring tape, simple measuring tape, the tailor's measuring tape. This costs 20 rupees. Now, one student who is a tailor student, he takes the measurement for a shirt. Another student keeps noting down. And the typical experience, having gone to the tailor, if any, knows what all measurements that you have to take, the shoulder, arm length, the chest, waist, whatever else, the length of the shirt, all, 10 odd measurements are taken by the students, this is what happens. Then I ask the student, okay, how much will you charge for stitching the shirt? Okay, 250 rupees, 500 rupees, whatever it is, okay, that much is charged. Then I ask, okay, when you go to the shop, a store to buy a shirt, does the shopkeeper take all these measurements before he gives the shirt? No. He asks, what is the size of the shirt? Where is the size of shirt? What is the meaning of, say, my shirt size is mentioning 40. 40 what? Centimeters, inches? If so, measure of what? Ultimately, very, very few people know it is a measure of the neck. And when they discover it, it is a beautiful thing. I've seen students clapping with joy. Oh, I have discovered something new, something good. And that one measure of the neck size is enough to correlate with other parts of the body. So this again brings to another beautiful aspect of patterns in nature. The body parts, the way the leaves are formed, the cones are formed. Series of things. This can open up discussion in various subjects that we teach or we study. For example, golden ratio. Golden ratio is A plus B by A equals A by B. Or the ratio is 1.6 approximately. You can make it, accurate 1.618, whatever it is. And if you look around, where do you have this golden ratio? All over the usage by a human being that we design, and also in nature. For example, if you look at this card, you can go and measure later when you find time. It is 1:1.57, close to golden ratio. So you find so many golden ratios in the world, not one or two places, and it is a joy to discover such things. And we're distracted from our eternal boredom, distraction. Make it a play. The learning is curiosity should build. We can say, okay, sometimes what we can do is that using of tools instead of brute forces in the process of learning, using correct tools, correct methods. You call two students, one athletic, strong boy, another weak little girl. Say, okay, you have to run a race from one end of the class to another end of the class. Guess who will win? Yeah, all will say, okay, this boy will win. But say you have to run with one leg. The girl will run with both the legs. That is the difference between using brute force against using a tool. So we have to use, for example, one beautiful technique to remember what we study is recall. There's a technique called Pomodoro, which requires us to stop studying a subject after every 25, 30, 40 minutes. The timing is up to us, depending upon the age and the stage in which we are as a student. We are required to recall in our memory, not reading something, not looking at the notes. What do I remember out of what we have done? This is extremely effective. After teaching or after discussing, after learning together with the students, ask them to recall, remember what they have done, preferably write it down. If they can share with you, beautiful. This is far better than reading the textbook 10 times. And what we are doing at home, especially, is that have you read the book? Read again, read your text. It is not useful. Reading over and again is counterproductive. Changing topic. As a teacher, we should expose our vulnerabilities. We should not create a big power distance with the students. There's a term called PDI, power distance indicator or index. Like when you go to the doctor, some doctors say, if you ask them some doubts, if you ask them some explanation, who is the doctor? You or me? This arrogance, without intellectual humility, intellectual integrity, is hurting learning if ever you use that. We don't see it much these days, probably. But the teachers have to go with humility. Students are smarter than us. They're more knowledgeable. They're more purposeful. But you have to shape their purpose, kindle their interest, nudge them to activities which will help them. I'm a tech idiot. I do not know much. I take help of my grandson, who is my tutor in the use of gadgets. What he solves, what he finds out in 1 minute, I go to the user manual, I go to Google, I go to the internet, I go to whatever else it is. But these children, they get it intuitively. So let us depend on the students to solve our problem. Let us fail in the class in front of them. So purposeful structure enables learning. Empty authoritarianism of being authority figure, I'm the teacher, who are you? Won't work. And one more great saying is that there are many ways of conveying the same truth. It is not one. Ekam sat vipra baudha vadanti. Truth is one. The wise speak of it in many ways. So we have to change the tune, change the tone, change the subject, change the way we tell based on the context. We talked about the culture aspect. And we have to be ourselves. Just because somebody else succeeds in telling a story, succeeds talking like, Shashi Tharoor. I'm not Shashi Tharoor. I can't talk like him. So I have to be myself. You have to be yourself. Live your story. Let me tell small little things in the remaining time that I have. Power of word. Telling the story. Telling it in multiple way, multi-perspective way. Words don't live in dictionary. They live in our mind. We live the words. This is what Shashi Tharoor says in one of his great talks. So if the words are just in the dictionary, we don't sense the meaning of it, the depth of meaning of it, it won't work. Now let me take some simple things. We all say, okay, there is a traffic bottleneck. There's a bottleneck in the progress. The word is bottleneck. We can demonstrate this one in the classroom if you want. So we take a bottle to the class and we know what is a bottleneck. No worries. So if I say, okay, this is the bottle and this is the neck of the bottle. What is this neck of the bottle? It has got a purpose. If it didn't have this neck, if it was to be cut off at this level, the bottle was only this much, like a cylinder. Can I pour this water? The whole thing will go down. So what we can do is that take such a bottle, which generally throw away after use, fill it with water, make one student be the timekeeper, other student a whistle blower, whatever, not whistle blower in the sense that we use it, the judge, another keeping note of the things, pour water. Or for example, you can use even a different bottle. Like the advertisement say, okay, drop by drop. This is a washing liquid for the vessels. If it did not come drop by drop, we wouldn't have been able to use it. The advertisement say every drop carries so much of power to cleanse it. So there is a reason, there is a purpose for making this bottleneck. The bottleneck is by design. Bottleneck is not in a negative connotation that we generally use. And the bottleneck, once it comes, if you don't have it, one problem. Another, if you remove the bottleneck, the water will just flow out. And after it flows out of the bottle, after the neck, it is free to move around whatever it wants. So it is not, it's a one-time restriction by design for a good purpose. Like while teaching, if you don't use bottleneck, if it is just a fire hose, we can't drink from a fire hose. We want drop by drop, we want a normal tap. We can't use a fire hose to water our garden. We need sprinklers for irrigation. So let us consider this another meaning, another aspect, another paradigm, and the perspective of this common term that we use day to day, bottleneck. Now let us consider another term which has become quite famous for the past 2-3 months. Ever since the Pahalgam attack, this term is being used, like Himant Biswas of Assam, Chief Minister, chicken neck. Now chicken neck and bottleneck are different. Chicken neck is like a clogged filter. It doesn't allow the traffic to go smoothly because it has narrowed down. And if it doesn't flow smoothly, then what happens? It is not by design, it is accidental, it is contextual. It is not created for a purpose. Nobody wants a chicken neck. But our country, 7 states are separated by a chicken neck. We have to travel that chicken neck. So what happens? So how do we ensure that it is not clogged by the political influences, by any ill deeds, like terror attack maybe, or denying services? So it is a totally different issue. And let us consider another gadget that we already know quite well. Now, is this a bottleneck? No, this is not a bottleneck. Bottleneck also is created for a purpose. What we face in the road is an hourglass structure. There is good traffic for some time. Then there is a small patch where there is a big traffic. We are not able to move forward. Once that patch is over, we are able to move fast enough again. So the analogy of bottleneck that we use to show the traffic congestion is not really a bottleneck. And this kind of thing, instead of telling in words, we just say, take it and just show practically. And how all can we show it? We can do it in many ways. The other type of gadgets that I regularly use. Okay, 1 minute. Regularly use are placards. This we can use in many ways. Now here 0, pink color, both are significant. Other side 1, blue color. Now having such placards, we can say what is a binary number? Base of 2. For the binary number, I can again extend base of 8, which is not much used in the classes anyway. It is inside the computer, octal or hexadecimal numbers. Say 10, number of 10. So such cards, if we repeat 1, 0 and 1, we go up to 9. We need 5 cards for that. The position values, we can make the students to spread around. Make a competition between 2 batches. Randomly selected, 5 students each. Give a number, binary number or a decimal number. The students can show their cards based on where they're standing from the most significant to the least significant position, and they show the thing. There is fun, there is learning, and there is something that is internalized. How much does it cost? Nothing. Paper cardboards, students carry, and a little stuff that we can put on that. Simple, reusable, and this can be used not just in the primary school. You can use it to show how the data flows from the server to the client. What is the latency? What is serialization? What is pickling? Why should we process as much data as possible in the server, not transfer the whole thing to the client and then processing it? What is the price that we pay? Huge amount of simulation. Understanding can happen. Then you don't have to go too much into the theory. Why should we need serialization? What is deserialization? What is the need to serialize? Because we keep telling, I don't have bandwidth. What is the meaning of bandwidth? We can just demonstrate with this kind of activity, students holding this kind of placards, roaming around the class. Then there is no lethargy. People are involved. The last point I will mention in another 5 minutes, I hope I can continue. Feedback loop. Celebrate failures. If a student is not able to answer a question, say, beautiful. Now that I know that you have not understood this, it's a feedback to me as a teacher that I have not been effective enough to explain how to correct it. How to correct it again, if you're able to do the evaluation dynamically, regularly, in a separate, those who are interested, I can discuss separately. Right now, we don't have the time, how it can be done with the modern technological context. Minute by minute, we can see which student is giving the right answer, which student is not giving the correct answer if you got internet, nothing else, no other expenditure. And if the students are able to do it on their computer, won't work in lower classes, but higher classes, it works beautifully. Every couple of minutes, 5 minutes, I can monitor, or you can monitor, which student is not understanding what concept in the assignment that I have given. Short assignments, small assignments. Then what we can do, we can pair the students. Who has understood, we can monitor and understand, writing a small little script. And who has not understood, we pair them. So there is a teacher-student, there is a student-student. When we pair them, if you ask them, okay, if there is a doubt, ask me. No student has got any doubt. They don't know what they don't know. If they seek help from your friends, group studies, no, that also doesn't work. Inverted classroom doesn't work in our context. But what does work is that if the teacher is part of the whole process, if you're able to monitor as regularly as possible, minute by minute, at least day by day, we definitely can monitor. And if we can see the patterns of error the students make, we know which topic is not very clear to them. We can also find out which student has understood, which student has not understood. When a smart student, I don't say smart by any other connotation, every student is good. The student who has understood, in the process of clearing the doubts of another student, learns even better. And the student who has not understood has got another opportunity to learn. It's a win-win situation. And we reduce the competition, unwanted competition among students, increase collaboration. And these things are done randomly selected, good student, randomly selected, not as good student, if you want to go by the performance. So this also is something that works very well, and be open in the evaluation. The student should totally understand how he or she is evaluated. Use soft deadline. Don't be rigid about the deadlines, it doesn't work. What is the purpose? Purpose is learning. Purpose is not scoring on marking and telling, okay, you are A plus, you are C minus, or you are F. Failing somebody, passing somebody, that is all incidental. That is not important at all. Yeah, in the system, law system, we need it. We will use it. But excessive burden, excessive stress, oh, am I right or wrong? That is the concern, rather than have I understood or not. If you put pressure, then what happens? The reason, we create a reason for copying. We create a reason to outsource the thinking to the ChatGPT, cloud, or whatever tools that we have got. So let us go with that idea that students are here to learn, and whatever helps in learning, deadline or no deadline, this context or that context, we'll tune ourselves according to that. And there is no one rule. And let us all be clear about our position. And ultimately, it is learning that is the purpose. And learning is a system where teacher also learns, students also learn, parents also learn. Let us have a bright future. Let us again say prayers to that Vagdevi. Thank you very much. I'm happy to respond to any questions from the audience.
Thank you so much, sir. That was a really engaging session. You really beautifully spoke about how to connect with Gen Z students on various topics like multitasking, drop by drop approach, celebrating failures. These are all very interesting techniques and topics. So before we move on to question and answer session, I would like to ask the audience to answer a poll. It will be on your screen. I request Rakesh to launch the poll. Yeah. The purpose of this poll is to understand you a little better. And it will help us to tailor future topics that we bring to you. And I thank all the audience who have joined us today. Your presence and participation means a lot to this webinar. I request our founder, Ms. Srivani Mullapudi garu, to begin the Q&A, ma'am.
Yes. Namaste, Mr. Bhatt. Thank you so much for coming and talking about a very important topic about students learning, especially when there is a complete change in the way society is behaving. Like when we were young, we knew a set pattern. At this age you study, this age you get married, this age you get kids, and this age whatever, the pattern was very clear. But right now the patterns have all been jumbled up. We are not clear what is happening. At such a strange time, you have come out and just given us a little clarity on the thought processes we are having, and how to a direction is something that you have given us. Thank you so much about it. Thank you to all the participants who are learning and willing to listen and willing to examine such topics every week. Thank you, Vishwa. Team, excellent the way you all are organizing everything. To the entire team, appreciate you all. With this, I will, there was a question that one of the participants had. What is the difference between Gen Z, Gen Alpha? Is what you're saying only relevant to Gen Z, or is it also relevant to other generations? Is one question.
Gen Z, I mentioned because every 20 years is supposed to be a new generation, 20, 25 years. The general definition is 20 years. So that generation, some people say it is starting from 2006, some people say 2002, that apart. Majority of them are students in some institute. Otherwise, we are all lifelong students. So what applies to Gen Z applies to us also. It is not that it doesn't apply, but you are taking the main perspective of the teachers and parents, and to great extent to the student also, telling that how it applies. It is not that it doesn't apply to us, but depending upon our learning habits. It will apply partly, totally, fully, whatever it is. So it is not exclusive for Gen Z, because this context is not exclusive to Gen Z. These distractions and this ultra processed food, thoughts, everything, it applies to every one of us in varying degrees.
Yes. Yes, Mr. Shmuel, please ask your question. Can you unmute yourself? Come on video and yeah.
You hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. Very interesting and insightful presentation. And I want to ask you a question. How hands-on approach in education can support improvement education of young people and students from poor and low socioeconomic groups of population?
Thank you, sir. Thank you for this very relevant and important question. Because majority of the students are not the ones whom we meet in cities. Like the great work Vishwa organization is doing, we reach out to them. So we will have to tune ourselves, but the core approach will be identical. We may not have the technology that we have in the rural urban area. The facilities may not be there, but the main tool, that is the brain, the thinking process for the teachers and the students, they are everywhere. There is no scarcity of that. So if we embody a teaching point of view, it doesn't cost much to get these props, for example. It doesn't take much effort to note down the critical incidents or the stories that we can pick up. So in the classroom, the main thing is that if you're able to engage the students, if you can bring them out of their slumber, then definitely there are ways to engage with them to make the learning more, rather than chasing the marks, at least by spirit. It is definitely important. At my age, I can say don't chase money. But when I was in my 20s or teens, I definitely had a need to earn. Right now, I may not worry much about that. So irrespective of the context, we will not deny the cultures and the subcultures in that what will fit. There is no one rule fits all, But there is a general guideline to engage with the students, to be mindful about the situation, reach out to them, and devise your own thing. And if you want to look for stories, if you want to look for props, there is no death. If you've got a teaching mindset, it is a plenty in every walk of life. Every day we will discover something. And it works because I have also been engaging with very poor schools in rural areas. And there, what works in school in Bangalore doesn't work there. We have to take a different approach, and it does work, no doubt.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. The next question. Please clarify PTI.
PT,
Did you use that in the
No.
speaking? No.
TPI.
Okay.
Teaching, TPV, sorry. I use a term called TPV, teaching point of view. Like I said, okay, we get a word called bottleneck. What is the teaching point of view there? Or you say, I find a bottle lying somewhere. If I find this bottle in the kitchen, used for cleaning the vessel, fine. Is it only for cleaning the vessel? Now, there are several teaching point of view that I can get from here. One is, your cooking is not complete unless you clean the vessel. Before cleaning the vessel, I should not eat. If you go in that hygienic or, healthcare perspective, okay, that is the thing. If you talk about the drop by drop, what is the need of that? So depending upon the context, this little bottle that I would throw away has got a teaching point of view. Let us consider normal sewing thread that we use. Now, this one I can say that they're in so many colors. As a teacher, I would say, okay, I need 10 colors, 10 different colors. There is already a standard available. We can look at the standard. Don't invent what is already available. What is 0 to 9? The color standards are there. Black, brown, red, yellow. We generally use a formula for that. B.B. Roy of Great Britain had a beautiful wife, whatever it is. Okay, there is a short form that we are using. In the electrical engineering, when you want to see, the resistors used to be color-coded. We would know the value of a resistor by looking at the color. Now, that is an old memory from my teenage, reading the value of a resistor. But I don't have to forget, okay, that is reading the resistor. I can change that concept directly as a teaching point of view. If you go to the primary school, if you go to the class 2, class 3, the position value. So if you use the position value, I could give this bunch of threads to a student, to each student, okay, make the position value. So there is a teaching point of view. Experiencing the concept rather than listening to the lecture boredom. For example, you say, I just say, okay, I go to the class. I say that I'm aged, limited, and rare. In a chocolate box, I found this from a chocolate box. Now I use it in a class telling, okay, see the difference between you and me. There is a gap. Let us bridge this gap. Whatever it is, we can, use it in many ways. Or, as an adjective, how does it apply? Is it permanent? What is the context? If I use it in the programming language, so how will I use this as a variable? There are several places I can use this simple thing, packing material, which otherwise would have gone to the dustbin. So there is a teaching point of view. Find an opportunity to convert whatever we find in the real life as a learning opportunity, teaching opportunity.
Okay. As a learning opportunity. Got
Yeah, the total thing is learning.
Yes.
But as a teacher, because I'm focusing mainly of this transfer
yes.
of information, that's what I mean. You can call it learning point of view in a larger sense.
Okay. How can we distract engineering students, for that matter, so many students these days, from overusing the mobile phone?
Yes, it is an addiction, and de-addiction is a process. One thing, roam around very regularly in the class. Have some ground rules right in the first class, what is allowed, what is not allowed, accepted by them. Violation, let us be clear, okay, this cannot be violated. because there is some social responsibility. I cannot say I will fill kerosene in my car and drive around. It is my car. I got no liberty to do that because I will pollute the atmosphere. If one student becomes naughty, mischievous, he is disturbing other students who are interested to learn. So certain ground rules we can set mildly and emphasize that. We are not targeting a student, we are trying to correct the student, nudge. Then how can you use a mobile phone if there is an activity? The one thing which you can do, randomly pick a name to answer a question. Every 3 minutes, 4 minutes, I explain a concept. I say explain sorting. When I explain sorting, after 3-4 minutes, the recall process, recall is done in a couple of ways. One is you recall on your own, other is you answer a question. So instead of naming and shaming, I say, I got a random student is picked up, a 2-line program. So the students, nobody knows who will be called. I also don't know. As a teacher, I do not know who will be called. The brightest of the bright student will be called, or the dumbest of the dumb student. So they are aware that a question can come, and they will come to the board and explain one thing. And when this question is asked, if he is not able to answer, don't shame him. Say, nice, you do not know, beautiful, excellent. Now we have got an opportunity to clear. It's a feedback mechanism as well. So one thing is that they know they can be called anytime, and you can also give a mark for that for the class participation. Again, it's another 2-3 lines of code. Yes, no, what answer he gave, what marks he can get. So there is also a measurement. There is quantified. The participation is quantified. That is one thing. And when we do this drama in the class, say nobody knows who will be a tailor master when he has to take the measurement of the shirt. Nobody knows who will have to cut the neck of the bottle. Nobody knows who will be the timekeeper, who will blow the whistle, who will mark. That is not known. Or who will march up and down in 3 rows or 3 columns, turn around. Who will have to get out of the class in this drama? Who will have to get in the classes? So a lot of role plays are possible. Suppose somebody says, okay, my weight is 80 kg. I said, okay, now lift that student in your hands. Can you do that? Another girl says, okay, I'm 45. Now, can you do that? Somebody says, my waist is so much. Take the tape, measure, bring some fun in the class. Bring some physical activity in the, okay, one more thing what we can do is that, getting back to expanding that question, one thing that works quite well is that, okay, there is so much of noise in the class. People are distracted. Say, okay, take each other's pulse. You cannot count the pulse of a person without being mindful. You have to count. There is an activity. So that activity, it has distracted them from the distraction, because for a minute or two, they have to count the pulse. Or say, okay, give some of the silly gadgets. There are many, many of them that you can create. Okay, give a quiz. Okay, here is a gadget. Now, what is it? Say, what is it? Most students don't know what it is. Yes, but you are using it every day. How is it? It can be interpreted in multiple ways. In the physics class, I can say there is a coefficient of expansion. There is a strip which has got 2 metals. So that, okay, I can explain physics. I can explain electricity. I can explain 10 different things with this simple gadget. Doesn't cost more than 10 rupees maybe. And this is there. If you're using an electric iron, it is there. If you're using a fridge, we have it. You're going to refrigerator, the air conditioner, we have it. We have it in every day. So we are mapping the everyday experience into the concepts that we are explaining in maths or science or computer science or whatever it is, we're able to do that. And make those students to come over and explain this context in their recall mechanism. It is not in my words, their words. Imperfect, buggy, better. A perfect answer is not as good as an imperfect answer, because with an imperfect answer, there is a lot more to learn rather than just, vomiting out what is in the book.
Okay, since we are time up, I'll close the talk with letting you all know the upcoming talks, and then we can continue with the Q&A session. Thank you so much to all of you all for participating. On 9th August 2025, we have Teaching Boundaries Through Stories with Bibble the Fairy. The speaker is Apramita Deshpande, founder, Cobol. At a time when we have moved, when the family structures are changing at a very fast pace, when families are becoming nuclear and the kids are just 1 or 2 kids, the opportunity to understand boundaries when you are moving from a joint family to a single family is coming down. So here's an opportunity for us to learn our own boundaries, learn to understand others' boundaries, and to help our kids in their future with this. Then the next talk we have is Save Soil by the speaker Sneha Kopula. She's the lead project coordinator of Aranya Agricultural Alternatives. It's on 16th August 2025. Wonderful lady, very passionate about permaculture, very experienced, and the amount of knowledge she has, I don't think we can cover all of it in this one talk, but we are at a crisis stage in the country, in the world right now, where we are letting microplastics enter the soil. Most of us have forgotten our ancient wisdom on soils, on composting, and how to handle our gardens, even if you're living in an apartment. I think you can ask her a whole lot of questions on this. Please share it with friends and family. Most times our Instagram promotions get banned. So please do share all these with your friends and family. Another talk we're having is on 23rd August 2025. The speaker is Arvind Tarunshri, Director, PADI, Master Instructor, Disabled Diver Instructor. He's navigating through and understanding waste in the ocean. He's someone who has actually dived into the ocean and cleaned up tons and tons of waste. So listening to someone who has actually has ground experience in this would be amazing. Please share it with friends and family who are interested in such things. With this, thank you so much, Mr. Bhatt. Thank you so much to all the participants and to the Vishwa team. And we move on to the question and answer session. Mr. Vasant Kumar Garu, please, can you come online? Please, not more than 30 seconds.
Not more than 30 seconds. Anyway, sir, but sir, it's very nice. And you took me back to Gurukula system of education. In the present day context, it's very difficult to make the children leave the mobile, who are always wedded to that intrinsic values of mobile data processing, with ChatGPT, AI, quantum, Croak. All these things have captivated them. It will be very difficult for us to wean them away. That's one thing. How relevant is this system now compared to the present way of teaching? And finally, is it, you mentioned about data set. From what I have learned, the thing is, it's difficult to concentrate. Statistics is a bundle of lies. That is what I studied when I was doing my sociology.
Yes.
This is something which I request you to clarify. And with regard to engaging the children, Japan has already gone 1 foot forward. At primary level itself, they are teaching the children to sweep, swab, and cook also with clean vessels. They are the usual way of how we are living are being taught in the very early levels. So can we also adopt those things in India? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for all the interesting questions. If I missed the thread, please prompt me again. Going backward, Japanese are making the children socially responsible citizens. Yes, when I went to school, we swept our own classroom, we kept it clean. Now, if it is done with our children, the parents will complain. We won't accept that. We are paying lakhs. So this is problem not with the individual school or individual teacher. We all want them to be responsible, but the context has changed so much. So we have to say, what is the priority? By making them do this, or by they will internalize what is the value that we will teach and what is the value we will demonstrate. So I don't have a direct answer, because this is cultural issue, culture has changed, the affordability, availability, everything has changed. So making sudden change is not possible. But if the schools decide. We can experiment with that, getting back to our old culture and saying what it is not. Getting back to the first point about the distractions, it is the reality. The Gen Y criticizes Gen Z, but this context is created by Gen Y. You ask Gen Z students, they got 100 complaints about their teachers. I got a list of them gathered from the bright students, good students, sincere students. They want to learn. It is not that they don't want to learn. Many times the teachers are not prepared to teach. We build that unwanted distance, power distance. The teachers are not coping up with the students who are much smarter than us, no doubt about that, because what they're exposed to is much bigger thing. So let us accept that. Let us make it a fun to learn. And there is nothing more joyful for a student than correcting the teacher. Gains great satisfaction. He or she doesn't look down upon teacher. What remembers in the mind of the student is, okay, I helped the teacher. There is a joy, there is a pride. I helped the student. So there is nothing wrong in showing our humility, intellectual integrity. If I don't know, I do not know. I will refer and tell you. On the spot, I can refer if there is an internet. Or we can ask the students, okay, let us have it an exercise, it's an opportunity to engage the students. Okay, this student has asked a bright question. I do not know the answer. Let us all work on it. Let us find out. How will you find out? Next day, initial 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Let that be the exercise to engage the students. And the second question you were asking was, okay, let me ask you again, as I told you.
Statistics is a bundle of lies.
Okay. You're talking about the personal data. See, what we have to see is that we are not going for a big data in the classroom. It is a small data. And we are not arriving at any particular decision, actionable decision. Say, I want to see the correlation between the neck size and the remaining body parts. For example, I mentioned about that big database of, not big database, small database of 6,000 soldiers of American Army. Now that data is used by them. What size of uniform, what kind of weapon, the design of weapon, 100 places they are using this data about the body proportions, the body measures, what ethnicity, the eight demographic variations are there. So depending upon that, they're able to plan, and it's being effective for the past so many years they're using it. The statistics used in the right perspective, all of us live with statistics. Without that, we can't plan, we cannot organize, we cannot say it's a set of lies. Yes, we can lie through statistics. It's a math for mass destruction. There is a book written by some lady, I don't remember the name, on that name. So we can use the quantification for wrong reasons, for right reasons. So in the classroom, we will be conscious of using it. And just to mention again, I've been using this kind of approach for the past more than a dozen years. In one session, there's a workshop for about 250 teachers had joined, engineering college teachers only, from all over the country had joined. And there I had gathered the data of all the teachers who were participating, demonstrating what kind of errors can be there, what concept we can take from there, how we can use it for various reasons. It was on machine learning. And at the end, that was the feature which majority, 99% of the teachers appreciated. Okay, this was more effective than anything else. Using our data made us understand the concept far better than using some textbook data, some website data, some curated data. This is the feedback I got. Since, as I told you, I have found it very effective. And it by itself reduces some distraction, not the total, but they connect better. Thank you, sir. I hope I have clarified my point of view in that.
I do agree. There are limitations. Last question, sir. How to control AI?
There's a lot of disturbance in your voice.
Yeah. I understood to repeat the question.
How to control AI?
How to control AI?
I get it. In the sense, again, it goes in the mindset. Tell him that if are exam oriented, marks oriented, score oriented, then we are seeing Have the students copied? Have the students cheated? Is it a tool for cheating? If you get out of that mindset, so what we can, there are many ways of doing it. Let us say it is an open internet examination. And everything is, the one thing is that you give an assignment, when you give a classwork, when you give an examination, as a teacher, I should solve it as if I am a teacher. Without that, I got no right to set a question paper, give it to the students. I have to know as a student how it feels. That is the first thing. And if the exam is conducted at the end of it, ultimately the purpose is learning. Suppose a student has totally copied from the internet, from the AI, from the chatbot. But if the student has understood the subject well, internalized the concept, nothing wrong in using the chatbot. But if he or she has outsourced the thinking process, if he or she doesn't know the solution, here is the answer for your sake, I don't need to understand it, then there is a big problem. So how it can be done, depending upon the context, there is no one way I can tell that. Suppose it is a hands-on examination. Soon after the examination, within 3-4 minutes, with the script, I will detect the copying. Cosine distance, for example. I can pick up the keywords. Like by the type of example that is used, the Dow Jones. Indians don't have the name called Dow Jones, but the internet is full of Dow Jones. The example they will give you Dow Jones. That itself, the pattern itself will tell us, okay, this is not your own work, it is copied. Something will come up betraying that they're copied, and there are tools enough to say that it is a ChatGPT answer or your own answer. Fine. If it is ChatGPT answer, it is still okay with me if you have understood it. So within 3 minutes or 5 minutes after this hands-on test, 3 minutes to 5 minutes per student, it may go till midnight, it is okay with me. Ask the students to explain one concept. Ask them to explain one part where you suspect there is a copying. If the student has not been able to explain, there is a case of 39 students could not, and they gave in writing, I did not understand, I copied from the ChatGPT 2 years ago. All of them failed, and they were okay to fail because the message went right and clear. So the idea is, if they're learning, it is okay. But if they're not learned, it is dangerous. So for example, now in China, they're encouraging use of these AI tools in the classroom. They say you have to know how to use it because that is going to be the life. Now Microsoft has apologized to the employees, telling that, okay, sorry, you have to lose job, not that you are not good, but AI has taken over. We don't need that kind of work anymore. That is the reality. We can't change it. So when you cannot change it, we'll equip our students to do that, but mindfully, not blindly doing it, responsibly, not irresponsibly. And to some extent, it has worked. So to some extent, I have failed. So it is an ongoing thing. You know, they will always be smarter than us, but let us not do this chore police game there. We're all in the one team. So then it works better.
Got it. Fantastic, sir. Especially in today's world with tablets, iPads, computers. It was a question for most parents and teachers, what is right, what is wrong. But the way you have explained it with such simplicity gives us a direction. Thank you. And Asant Kumar Garu, can you unmute, please? Excellent questions. It's really
Yes.
added value to the entire group. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Bhatt. This is the Rishant.
Sorry,
Rishant.
I can't hear what you're saying.
There's some disturbance in the.
There's a lot of disturbance where you are. No,
Sorry.
in the mic. In the mic. Yes.
Okay.
So at a time in India where the children are being given phones and iPads, where emotional regulation and mental well-being is important, not just knowledge. Uh, how do you balance it out? Like now, the question right now was about examining whether they have learned or not. Now the question is, how does a school, how does a teacher balance between knowledge and emotional regulation and mental health well-being?
School, the child is in school for a limited period. The exposure available outside is far more than that. Influences, because in the classroom there is a structure. Outside there is no structure. What we pick up informally, unknowingly, gets deep into that without our knowledge. It has just caught us. So what can we do in the campus? How does the anxiety and the ill health is promoted? You go to any hospital, the kind of food that is being sold in the hospital, you put a coin and get the thing. Say apple juice. I saw a video recently where a factory which produces tons and tons of apple juice, there is not a single apple used there. You can search, you will find it. So there is not a single apple, but it is sold as an apple. This pharmaceutical industry, the food industry, supported by the healthcare industry, unfortunately. They're all making it a business rather than healthcare. Leaving that aside, we will not talk about that. Awareness can be brought by small way of injecting these issues. Say, for example, a student is, putting the head down and unable to keep her head high in the class, or a boy. So I would go around, put my hand on the shoulder and say, okay, you're not well. What is the trouble? I could not sleep. Okay, let us meet 5 minutes, 2 minutes, not broad. Don't want to be in the lecturing mode. They don't work. We have to be very conscious of the emotional quotient and say, okay, now you're not well. What is the problem like? Is there anything that you want to discuss with me? I don't want to give an advice which you don't want. If you want to share with me, just tell me what is your problem. I may not have a solution, but the thing is that, okay, somebody is concerned. The parents will tell, like, you should study hard. Somebody else will say, okay, you should stand first. Somebody else will say you should get merit seat. Somebody else will say you should get a starting salary of 10 lakh per year at least, otherwise it's a shame. But nobody talks about the agony that the student is going through, a teenager is going through. Nobody, this is very few people. They're all having a quantified objective rather than the emotional objective. So if you're able to connect with the students, that itself is a great gain. Another thing, getting back to the hospital selling the junk food or the apple juice which doesn't have a single apple. Now you see in the campus, at least there is a control. The trust or the managers, the management can say, okay, whatever is sold in the campus should be healthy. How to measure the health of a food? There is a standard, there is a tool available. It is called NOVA, N-O-V-A. So which can be used. We can also write programs for that. Okay, health of each item that is sold within the campus, how harmful, how good it is. Simple it is. And time to time, we can bring about while teaching in the course itself, as a byproduct of that, the health consciousness can come. For example, let us say, right from the small class, I said, okay, here is a packet of chips. What are its ingredients? What is processed for the sake of adding value? What is processed for the sake of increasing the shelf life? What is added to increase the taste which can be harmful, like the sugar and salt, or anything that can last longer that is more harmful, because there is something done, something which should, entropy should set in automatically as a nature. If that is blocked, there is something unnatural, it is bad. So this, in the passing, in some context, this again, TPV, teaching point of view, will be able to bring that while teaching multiple subjects. If I'm teaching ML, okay, I will analyze as a project. If this is the thing that I want to see, I will analyze the thing. Okay, I told about the taking information about the students. I can tell, okay, when I was young, in my class, there is not a single person who had reading glasses. Look at your class, 50% of you got myopia. Why does it happen? What could it be? Okay, let us consider about the weight, obesity. I'm telling how to calculate obesity, but in the meantime, I'm also communicating the student, okay, what all the effects of obesity can be there. So in the passing, telling without telling, nudging, because if you point a finger, it is right. They will resist it. But in the mind of mind, without openly accepting, if it sinks in, it is not a total solution, but it will be a path towards improvement. The best thing that works is accept failures, encourage failures. Say, okay, this is a gift. You don't understand the meaning? Beautiful. It is a gift that you have brought in. Never, never look down upon a student who doesn't know the answer. That itself connects to a great extent. Encouraging them, because learning is the objective, not the scores.
Excellent, sir. Okay. So we have one more question here. In today's school system, each subject is taught for 30 to 40 minutes before the student begins to settle into a topic, bell rings, and another teacher subject starts. How does this switching impact focus, attention, and learning?
My perspective and what I was trying to implement in the schools where I was an academic advisor. Like in the junior classes, 45 minutes may be fine, because the attention span of a student is only that much, or even the grown-up is only that much. That is what the Pomodoro techniques mention, that you should take a break at any age. If you're learning something, take a break after 35, 40, 45 minutes. That's what is fine. But this break does not mean it should be a new subject that is taught later. For example, let us talk about geography. You have drawn a map on the board, which has taken 10 minutes. You talked a little about that. And if the student has to wait whole 24 hours to connect with that, sometimes 48 to, it is a stress, it's a wasted energy for the teacher and the student in higher classes. So my personal take, experimented is some schools, couple of schools, not some schools, only 2 schools, and which is a success. We were implementing at least 2 sessions, not more than 2 sessions, 90 minutes. So if English is taught, first session English, second session English. So there is a continuity with the break. In between, there can be some fun activity. But the moment you talk about introduction to the poem, the session is over. Next class, the students have forgotten. The teacher has to do it all over again or don't do it. So this is one technique which I subscribe to, not to make the, especially senior classes, not to make it too short, one period, one thing. Another, recall works beautifully. The students who have done it regularly have all come back to me and told that, okay, this is a beautiful way which you have picked up, habit that you have picked up, you'll keep it up. The recall has helped a great deal. This is what I say. Some of them don't do it. That is true. But I keep telling, okay, this is the feedback from your friends, telling that it helps. Try it out. No penalty if you don't do it. I don't treat what they have done, but it is your job. It is for your own good. So the recall works even when the session is small. If you develop this habit of recall, keep a record of that. Depending upon your context, you can either say you have to submit it or make your own notebook, write it there. I will see it once a while. So these are my views.
I always felt a 30, 40 minutes break is always good for anybody at any age group.
Yes.
Otherwise, the brain fries.
True, true.
Secondly, the methodology used abroad versus the methodology used in India. In India, we're cramming children.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas in outside, what I have noticed is the subject, the concept is taught, the reading material is given, and the child can spend 1 hour, 5 hours, 10 hours continuously as per his brain, his emotional feelings, his
Absolutely.
capacity. He can spend for 4 hours or 10 hours. That's up to him.
Correct, correct.
That's until his focus is there, until his attention is there, and as long as he's learning.
Correct, correct.
That was how I was thinking. Another question is, we're seeing cases where children are becoming insensitive, even making fun of serious situations like classmates to suicide. What is causing this lack of empathy, and how can we bring back emotional intelligence in them?
This is a social evil, not just in the classroom or in the school. In the class itself, if you say everything is fair, we as teachers don't use naming and shaming. We as teachers show empathy continuously, encourage them to come back and discuss, be vulnerable, show our own weaknesses. To some extent, it gets corrected. There is no one Ramabana for every ill of the thing. It will take a long time. And some students don't change. They're hardened. It's not possible to change. But at least if it is better than what it is, fine. I think we should be happy about that. It will lead to, there is a turning point. Once the turning point is over, then they are fine. No issue at all. The thing I see is that parents and the teachers and the elders, we don't listen to them. They don't feel heard. One common cry about very young people is that, listen to me. Nobody listens to me. Listen. That mindful listening or active listening is extremely important because we discover so many things which are untold otherwise. If they don't open up, if there is no communication, there is no way we can help them. And communication sometimes takes long for them to build up. They're worried that they would be exposed. They think they will fail. They will fail the teacher. They will fail the expectations of the parents. They're not good enough, and automatic negative thoughts. So it's a long thing. And, communicating not only with the children, I think communicating with the parents also is important. In the West, they may say, okay, after 18, everything is sacred. Your parents have nothing to do. But that is not the case in India. Why should we shy off that? So there are multiple ways, but definitely we can be better than what it is. Ultimate goal, of course, depends on the context. Many things come in there.
My experience as a mother and a grandmother, the amount of video games kids are playing and shooting and killing has become normal. And even the movies that are being shown to them has become normal.
Yes.
I see my grandchildren wanting to see Superman. I mean, I don't even know the names. Superman, Captain Man, God knows what man, Spider-Man. But in our Indian mythology, there is Hanuman. He's strong. He also has his weakness. He also has his fears. He doesn't know his strength. So we come up with stories where he doesn't know his strengths and Jambavantru tells him, okay, listen, you have the strength, you can do this. Why don't you do it?
Yes.
And there are times where there are people with egos and which is addressed. Whereas in the Western movies, which I'm seeing, the Disney movies and all, there is no concept of vulnerability. It is all about Superman. He has everything and he can kill and beat and do everything. It is actually making our children become insensitive. And yes, this leads to serious, even for serious situations, children not knowing how to react. And added to that, us becoming nuclear families with no grandparents or cousins, the child is not corrected at a younger age when they are insensitive. There is, as you said, already mentioned, there is no one listening to them and guiding them as to what is correct. So this is a humongous problem and very difficult even for highly educated, highly conscious parents and grandparents to address. Like my grandkids came to stay with me the last 3 days, and I'm showing them today was a Saturday, yesterday was their movie night. And the kind of movies, I have no control on what they're going to see. I'm there, I'm sitting with them, I'm seeing, it's supposed to be a child's movie, but what I am seeing is scaring me.
You're telling me. My daughter also is in the audience. So
yeah,
I know what we are going through with our 10-year-old grandson. But then there are a couple of things that we have experienced is that love can do wonders.
Good afternoon. I'm Anantaraman. Can I
Yes, sir.
talk
Yes, sir.
some words? A few words?
That will help, please.
I'm Anantaraman, a retired IOB manager from Sivagangai, Tamil Nadu.
Fantastic.
Sivaganga is 50 kilometers away from Madurai. That's Meenakshi Amman temple, you may be knowing. Sivaganga is a district headquarters. And I'm very happy to connect to you. I'm fortunate to connect with you all today. Dr. P.G. Bhatt's lecture, it gave us a lot of insight, and we have to collectively see that something forward is coming for making our grandchildren's classroom an enlightened one. Okay. The methodologies used are very fantastic, and I would like to suggest books written by Dr. S. Purandaiswamy and Shenbagavalli, secretaries of Gandhi Peace Foundation, Chennai. It was patterned by our late President, Mr. R. Venkatraman. And Ambajamal, it is in Ambajamal Street, Alvarpet, Chennai. And I've been associated with that institution for nearly 10 years. And they have written small anecdotes on how to how to practice Gandhism in the day-to-day life. So I'll be sharing with you. And
that will be very kind of you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
That will be very kind of you. If you can just put in the chat.
Thank you.
We will get that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So one last point I wanted to mention to Shivani is that I was telling Vagdevi, and I will have to say Shivani. Okay, fine. So is that, nurturing parent. If you go to this transaction analysis literature, the parent can be controlling or nurturing. So most of the time, unknowingly, we become, controlling parent, which children consider torturing parents. If they realize that you're a nurturing parent, we bridge the gap. They understand, okay, something better, something to replace, because they want distraction. So something has to replace that movie or this one. As you rightly did, we have to watch along with them, sit along with them. Just advice without seeking advice won't work. It will just be rejected. They won't even listen. So it's a big journey, but take the role of nurturing parent, with a lot of love. Things change. May not be the extent, it's a long journey. We have to grow with the children. Mute.
I don't even know how to react. Like yesterday's movie was a great movie, no doubt. But it was about, at the end of the day, they show the parents separating and still the kid being happy. Now, these movies are nothing relevant to the Indian scenario.
Okay. Can I tell one small thing about it?
Yes.
See, whether you like it or not, whether they see in the movie or not, they're exposed to this kind of information. So as a parent and grandparent, our effort should be to give them the right meaning of that. For example, I read in a book called The Princess. The boy comes and says, bastard. You said the word bastard. Is it a good word or
In a
bad word?
children's school? In a children's book?
No. It's a novel written by, I think, Mulkraj Anand.
Okay.
If I remember correctly. I read it 50 years ago or so. But that context is still in my mind. So he comes and uses this word called bastard. That bastard. The teacher asks him, what is the meaning of bastard? He says, the bastard means a bad word. Who says that bastard is a bad word? Arjuna is a bastard. Yudhishthira was a bastard. Vyasa was a bastard. And we call them Avatara Purushas. So many children are named as Arjuna. The only thing is that the social norms are there, that the parents are socially better. Some unfortunate situations, that doesn't happen. A child born out of that doesn't become a bad child, doesn't become a bad person. There is nothing wrong. The context or the situation, the forces have created the situation. So, of course, that is in a novel. But then if you sit with the, telling what you said, separation. The separation can happen because of various reasons. Sometimes it can be for good. When we are not able to do, say you have got a friend in the school. And he has been a good friend, she has been a good friend. Time over, the interests change, and they clash. When they clash, should you bear that? Should you keep fighting, or just separate? Or okay, cut it. I will not talk to you anymore. Fine. What is good for you? So let us understand from the child's context. Then they will not carry a burden of something bad has happened, something good has happened. There is nothing good or nothing bad. These are the social things that happens, which we cannot control. If they understand it is better, they will get exposed to that, you like it or not. And if they're exposed in the right way, they will not pick the same thing in a wrong context. They will not give a wrong meaning to that. They will not consider it a bad thing to happen. Suffering, yes, suffering is part of that. Any separation, like, you don't talk to a person who has been a great friend of yours now. Yeah, there is a pain, but that pain also is needed.
Got it. Fantastic. Really
Thank you.
appreciate that you have explained that they're anyway going to be exposed to all this, and may as well we be there when they're being exposed. Thank you.
Yeah.
There's one more question. Education is getting expensive, and not every parent can afford big private schools. What should be the role of parents in ensuring the kids get good holistic learning in regular schools and even at home?
See, my concept or my firm belief is that the pillars of the school are teachers. When the school is run as a business, teachers are sidelined. There are universities, the vice chancellors change every 6 months to 1 year because they don't know the line of the business which is controlling the university. The deans of schools or the principals of the schools are changed whenever they don't know the line. So there is such an erosion that is happening at that level. The teachers, if they're not respected, then there is no way education can come up in the schools. And if it doesn't happen in the school, the corrections at home are very limited. So unless we bring a change where the teachers have respect in the society, respect from the parents, respect from the children, for the role that they play, they will not be committed to the work that they are doing. They will again seeking a job. It is not a profession. It is not a passion. So if that happens, there is no easy way of changing it. In the overall context, we can have tuition classes, we can have special thing, we can say AI will give you the answer. None of them will replace the role of a student, of a teacher. A teacher can make wonders, can change lives. But that has to be, I do not know, I'm just telling because you are into the social area. And whatever little we can do, we'll keep doing it. Like quoting one specific example. There was some rowdy boy who was suspended from the school. And there is a culture at home that the father came, said, I can bring 100 gundas and get your school closed now. I want the principal to apologize to me. Fortunately, the president, I was in the meeting, said, principal is not going to apologize to you. No way. He is respected and his position will be kept. In majority of the organization, they will say, why you get into this trouble? Okay, apologize, right, give in writing. Otherwise, you quit the job. So the innocents are punished for doing the right things in many cases. So, okay, it's a multiple, though we are not giving up. We are not giving up. Wherever we can, we will spread this message that the teachers have to be respected. Unless their position is of a satisfying, proud position, there is no way we can improve the school. You can bring whatever system you want. National education policy can come, Nalikali can come, this thing, that thing, syllabus can change, the ultra modern can come. Nothing is going to change for me unless the teachers get back their position of Acharya.
I got your answer. I hope the person asking also understood. Schools which are run as businesses, I don't even need to put my kids there. That's what I understood. There are enough schools in the market where teachers are passionate about what they're teaching. And we can always move to that location and put our children there. Just because a school is famous doesn't mean we need to put our kids there. That's what I've understood.
Exactly.
Thank you so much. With this, I've covered almost all the questions. A wonderful topic, much apt topic for today's current times, and the insights that you have been given are very directional to all of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes. Pleasure meeting you all.
Yeah. Once again, thank you to all the audience and thank you to the Vishwa team. Great job.
Thank you, ma'am. So there's a breakout room link that will pop on your screen. Please join the breakout room. So lastly, thanks to all the participants who have joined. And please take a moment to subscribe to Vishwa Talks to get alerts on new talks, exclusive events, and access to whole Vishwa community. So follow us on our social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The links will be provided in the chat box, and the chat box will be open for next 10 minutes. See you all in next Vishwa Talk.
Thank you.